What's up guys, my name's Cam, you're watching Strike Garage, and today I'm going to teach you how to replace or fix the lower trunk latch on a 2006 to 2013 Lexus IS250, 350 or ISF. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so just to be extra clear, the trunk locking mechanisms on pretty much every single car is two parts. There's a upper part right here. This is the electronically controlled part. It's connected to an electrical connection, and it responds to your key fob and the button on the inside of your car, and this is what really unlocks it. And then down here, there's this thing. And you can see mine has broken off. And this is the metal piece that actually like locks into place with this right here, if that makes any sense. Now, if this is what you need fixed, this video is not going to cover that. I'm just putting that out there right now. But if this is what you need fixed and your thing broke or got unscrewed, mine got unscrewed, this is exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. So with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's get into it. Hello, it's me from like 6 months into the future, and I just wanted to do a quick cut in here because this video did not go as planned, and this repair was a lot more difficult than I had expected. So it took me a while to get it repaired, and there's a couple things I wanted to put into the beginning so I don't waste your guys' time. Number one, if you're watching this video because your striker, that's that little metal part that I just showed in the intro, actually broke off for your trunk, the correct way Lexus recommends to fix this is to take it to a body shop and have them re-weld it to the frame of your car. Because I didn't know it at the time. I just thought it was screwed in, but that part is actually supposed to be welded. That part is not supposed to come out like mine did. So if yours does, again, the correct way to do it, if you want to be super OCD and do it correctly, and money is no object, is to take it to a body shop and have them re-weld it, and they're probably going to charge you, I don't know, $100, $200, maybe even $300, depends on your area. So that's first things first, right off the bat. That being said, I didn't know that at the time when I was repairing mine. I just thought it was a bunch of screws. So I recorded a bunch of footage, and I recorded myself repairing it. So I will show you guys all that footage and the convoluted method I eventually used to repair my trunk. And that should cost you guys about $5 in parts and maybe $30 in tools if you don't already have them. And then finally, there's a third way you can fix this striker, and I actually found out about it too late. It was after I'd already fixed my trunk, but if I could go back in time, this is the method I would use to fix mine because it's cheap and it's a heck of a lot easier than the way I did it. And so I don't really have footage for that because I didn't do it, but I will at the end of the video explain the parts I would use and the tools to fix it if I was doing it again. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Let's get into it. Alright guys, as far as tools go, very simple, very cheap. You're going to want a plastic trim removal set. They're about $10. I will link it down below in the description to cheap sets on Amazon. You're going to need those to remove some plastic tabs holding in this back piece. If you don't want to scratch it, if you want to be cheap and you don't care about scratching it, you can also use a screwdriver set with a bunch of flatheads on it. That works too. I don't like to scratch my stuff. I'm going to spend 10 bucks to keep it looking nice. And then also you will need a ratchet with a 10mm bolt. I just got or a 10mm head. I just got a fresh new kit because I'm out in Arizona now instead of Ohio. It was $42 at Home Depot. You don't have to spend $42. I'll link cheaper sets in the description down below, as always. And that's all it is in terms of tools. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's get into the repair. Okay guys, so here's how this repair is going to work. Step one, we're going to want to remove this bucket in the corner. This little plastic bucket, there's nothing to it, just empty it out, and if you just lift your carpet here a little bit, there's literally nothing holding it in. You can just see, I'm just going to grab it from the back here, and it just pops off. I guess there's one clip over here, right? Yeah, one little thing right here holding it in, but otherwise it just lifts up and away. So go ahead, remove that first. And if you're having problems with your speaker, your amps, the infamous vents, this is one of them. I haven't made a video on it yet, but I will later. This is the easier to access vent. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just ignore what I just said. If you do know what I'm talking about, that's the location of those vents. And okay, so then once you remove that bucket, there's I think 3 plastic tabs. Here, let's just look again. There is, let's try to show you guys here. There's a plastic tab here. There is There's a plastic tab here in the middle, which you guys can kind of get a view of where it sits. And then there's another one up top right here. So there's 3 tabs, and we're going to be using those plastic trim removers to remove those. There is one more thing holding in this back panel, and that is these latches. I don't know what these are for, groceries or what, these metal ones. There's one on this side and there's one on this side. This is what took me the longest time to figure out. Nobody on the forums or on YouTube explains how to take these things off. Basically, you lift the metal part, and then using some trim remover or something, you stick it in this little slot. Let me show that again. See how there's a little slot here for the plastic black cover? You stick something in here, flathead screwdriver, plastic trim remover, whatever, and it pops off, and there's a 10mm bolt holding it in. Okay, same on this side. There you go. Okay, then you take a ratchet with a 10mm head, and you can just ratchet this off. And this is what the bolt looks like. It is not a bolt and washer combined. They're separate, so don't lose the washer. And again, that's what it looks like. Okay, 10mm. Save that for later. Do not lose it. And then this whole piece just comes off like that. Okay, cool. And then we can do the same thing on this side. There you have it, another 10mm bolt with a washer on it. Again, save it for later, and then this thing should just pop right out like that, and we can save this for later as well. All right, after you have all that removed, that's all there is to it. This thing is completely disconnected. Now, what you can do, there's some tabs. There's vertical tabs at the top of this piece clipped in to the actual part of the car, and you just want to pull up on this thing, and it'll, come apart. So let's give that a try real quick. There you have it. The back trunk panel is removed. Okay, let's just show you guys the back of this panel as well, so you can see where the tabs are located. You can see vertical tabs all at the top. There's blue ones as well, blue circular ones. Okay, and there's one at the corner there, but not one at the corner here. I'm assuming it broke. Yep, it broke off at some point on mine. I've never taken this off, so the previous owner, the Lexus dealership, broke it at some point. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Now, as for reattaching this, I don't even know what you would call this, a latch, whatever it is. You can see it lines up with 2 holes there for bolts. This is what the bolts are. Okay, they're like washers and bolts combined. I don't really know what size these things are. These black ones are original OEM Lexus, okay? And I lost both the washers. I couldn't find them. So I went to Home Depot, and the washer size is M6 1mm. Okay, so these are metric, they're not standard size, and I'm assuming the bulbs are also bulbs. The bolts are also M6, and I don't know what the length is, but they're M6 size. So if you don't have any of the hardware, it's all going to be M6 sized and whatever fits. But like I said, I went to Home Depot. I don't know how much this was, less than $1, and I got the washers for it. So now all I'm going to do is, I mean, you guys know how this works, but some people don't. So you're going to put the screw in while holding it there, and then I'm going to put my hand in the back and feed it into the washer and screw it tight. Okay, so let's do that real quick. Alrighty guys, I'm just gonna cut in right now and show you guys some footage of what I did, but just explain, because I did a terrible job explaining in the video. So you guys get the general idea of like where I was going with this repair. I was just gonna try to hold a washer on the back of that striker and screw in a bolt at the front and tighten it all the way through, make it nice and tight, and job's done, right? It seemed simple and easy in the beginning, but the problem is you can't hold, there's no way to hold that washer in the back flushed up against the plating there behind the striker. So I did a bunch of stupid convoluted things. I tried in dentistry we call it ligating. That's when you wrap something up in dental floss for security. So I tried ligating it on both ends so I could basically tie the washer in the middle, and I had a piece of dental floss going this way and a piece of dental floss going in the back, and I could kind of, I don't know, move it around. But that was also useless because although I could pull the dental floss and make it press up against the plating, it just kept rotating with the screw. There's nothing actually, you needed something holding it. And so this is a part of the story where I ultimately ended up going to AutoZone to get those special wrenches. I already forgot what they're called. They're angled. They have some bends in them, and basically what I was able to do with these bends is I was able to snake them through the access holes in the paneling back there and hold it real, you know, really weirdly through the access panels back there, and press it up against that washer and hold it in place while a second person screwed in the bolts, if that makes any sense at all. And so originally what we did is we tried holding the washer in place with the floss, and then a second person would lock in with the wrench onto the bolt, and that same person that was holding the floss would then switch and screw in the bolt. This is very convoluted, don't recommend. It was really frustrating, really hard. What we ultimately ended up doing is taking it all out, removing all the floss, and applying super glue to the circumference of that washer, and then sliding that washer into that wrench and letting it sit for 30 seconds so it's locked as one piece. And this simplified everything like you wouldn't believe. And so now that it's one piece, one person could just hold that one piece thing and slide it through all the paneling and push it up against that back plating, and the second person would screw in the bolt. And originally I was really scared because I thought the super glue would be really strong, and although we would get it on there, you know, then I'd have a wrench stuck back there. But don't be worried, the super glue is really weak. It just has enough you know, strength to bind to the wrench, and if you just torque the wrench just a little bit, it all breaks off. Only break it off once it's completely tightened. So yeah, that's essentially what I did. I did that for the upper, and then I did it for the lower bolt, and that was pretty much it, and that's how I fixed my car. But so now if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't bother buying these expensive wrenches, and I wouldn't bother going through all the drama that I went through. What I would do is I found out that there's these things out there, they're called riv nuts. So I'll try to explain this as best I can. I'll try to get some animations or something, I don't know. But if I can't, just go right now and Google it while you're hearing my voice in the background, and I'll explain this as simply as I can. So the way a riv nut works is it's like a sleeve with a bolt. And so what you do is that hole, you'd hold the striker up to the holes in the back plating and line it all up, and then you would feed this sleeve in through the holes, into the upper hole and the bottom hole, and then you screw in a bolt into this sleeve that you've inserted in. It's a really long sleeve, and they come in all different sizes. And basically, as you screw in and as you tighten that bolt, that sleeve will start collapsing on itself on the back, and it'll start expanding and collapsing onto the back surface of that plating, the metal plating that holds the striker. And so it'll just keep condensing and condensing and you know, breaking, like falling down onto itself. The more you tighten, and you can just tighten it completely super tight all by yourself. If you were to use riv nuts, or if I was to use riv nuts, I'm sure I could redo this whole job in 5 minutes all by myself. It would have saved me so much time, so much headache. And if I ever need to do this job again, 10 times out of 10, I'm gonna try riv nuts and see how they work. If you're honestly looking at repairing your striker yourself, and that's why you're watching this video, don't even bother doing all that nonsense that I did. I'm including it because I haven't used the riv nuts and I don't know how they work. So, so if you're doing it, go ahead, go order riv nuts, get the sizing, figure it all out, and try that first. And if it doesn't, you have this video now to show you how I did it in the convoluted way that I did. It works, and it'll get the job done. But to make life easier on yourself, look into riv nuts. Google it. Google what they look like. It'll help with the explanation. And I hope the repair is a lot more simpler and easy and enjoyable of an experience for you than it is for me, because this took me easily like 2 weeks while juggling school to figure all this out and wrestle and get people to help me. So yeah. All right, now to put this whole mess back together, we're going to start off with this back paneling first. This is the first thing we're going to put in, because it is the thing that sits at the very bottom above all, or below all the other parts. To put it back in, we're just going to raise our carpet and line up all the clips. I wish I could show you guys a little better, but just line it up, push it up against the back, and pop it into place like this. You should be good to go. So what I'm gonna do next is grab both of these little plastic side buckets, and I just wanted to show you guys to reattach them. There's cutouts in the carpeting on the side that match up with little plastic tabs all around here. And the reason we're putting in the back piece first before those buckets is because it actually has one of the tabs that these things clip into. So go ahead, you want to lift the carpet again, and then we can just line this all up, put it into place. Nice. And same for this side. Line it all up. Pop it into place. Nice. Okay, so once we have those two side buckets back in place, the next thing we need to do is put these tie down hooks back. There's only one way to put them back into place, and that is with the hook or the tie down facing more towards the back of the car. Go ahead and just set them in place, and then we can throw in our 10mm bolt with the washer. I'm just going to screw it in by hand for the most part, and then we'll do the final tightening with a 10mm socket with the ratchet. Same for this side. Okay, then again, 10mm socket, ratchet. Go ahead, do one final tightening, make sure everything's nice and tight. Okay, then go ahead, pop down the plastic, and there's your tie down. Same for this side. I don't want to over tighten it or anything, and there you go. Now you might think we're completely done, but there's one last step, and that is these beautiful carpet screws that we had. Remember, there was 3 of them. They go into the back paneling here. 1, it's a little hard to show you guys, 2 and 3. Go ahead and pop these bad boys back in. There's 1. Oh, it's having a hard time focusing, huh? We're getting close to sunset here, so. Okay. There's 2. I don't know how well you guys are seeing that, 2. And the 3rd one is right up here. Okay. And that's it. All right. Well, guys, a very long video in the making for me. That is how you fix the lower trunk striker on a 2nd generation 2006 to 2013 Lexus IS250, 350, or ISF. As always, I hope you guys found this video educational, or if you're doing this repair, I hope it was helpful to you guys, and I hope I was able to save you guys a ton of money out there. If you found it entertaining, interesting, or cool at all, please help me by hitting the thumbs up button down below. It really helps these videos spread. And that's it, guys. We are finally done with this repair. I will see you all next video. See ya.
Pull my heart out of my chest, train my mind so I forget. Sink your teeth into my bones, dig me out, then fill the hole. Tear me apart.